folks. My name is John Ting with Green Card Guys on TV, and today we have a guest who's part of our team at Green Card Guys. Her name is Ariana Fuentes. We're going to talk about common problems when not hiring a professional legal team. Try to not provide any bias here. It's truly based on the type of information, the inquiries we receive, and it's just very unfortunate when people have a much more difficult journey because they tried it themselves or they hired the wrong lawyer or notario. So let's bring on Ariana. Welcome to the show.
Hi everyone.
All right, Ariana. Well, Ariana, you've joined the team back in 2022. Well, so much time has passed.
Yeah, it's been 2 years now with Green Card Guys Law Group.
Yeah, and with that amount of time, of course, we appreciate all you've done with the team and helped people secure their legal status. But through that time, man, there have been several unfortunate stories. And how about we help people understand the situation, of course, without revealing confidential information so they can hopefully avoid the situation themselves, the problem.
For sure, it's super important to pick the right legal team, especially with immigration, where a lot of things can go wrong. So let's do it.
Okay, well, here, one of our themes at Green Card Guys is offering peace of mind. Even if, it's not with us, it'll break our heart, but it'll be our pleasure to assist you and guide you through all the way until you get that legal status from residency to becoming a citizen of America. But here's the deal, right, Ariana? There's many times when people think like, oh, nothing's gonna go wrong. It's just filling out forms and yeah, I got my marriage certificate. But what is the one example that you have thought of that people could have avoided a problem if they had a legal team like ours?
Yeah, a big one is missed deadlines. There's a lot of deadlines in immigration law for when you have to respond for things, request for evidence, notice of intent to deny. Deadlines is a really big one. We unfortunately get a lot of calls from people who have attorneys or filed without an attorney and they missed a deadline. And missing a deadline in immigration is kind of fatal to your case. If they don't hear back with you, if they don't hear from you by the deadline, they will consider your case abandoned and you basically have to start all over. So that's a big one that I see with people who either do it on their own or have a notario or don't pick the right attorney to be on top of things like that.
Thanks for sharing that. And having a team ready for you when something like that happens. We're not saying that having a legal team will completely avoid having a request for evidence. I mean, we do our best at Green Card Guys Law Group to do the best we can and due diligence in the beginning. But there's times at USCIS they either didn't pay attention to what we filed, or they're asking for things that are not really necessary to get that
Right.
benefit.
Mhm.
But Ariana, I believe the deadline when people receive that request for evidence specifically is about like 87 days to respond.
Yeah, I think it depends on what they're asking the information about, but usually it's about between, I would say, 80 to 90 days. And so that seems like a long time, but it's very quick turnaround, especially if you have to go get documents from a court, go get documents from a government agency. So that time goes by really fast. And you also want to have an attorney who makes a strong legal argument for you. So it's not just about sending them new information, but about crafting a whole argument that you are eligible for this specific benefit that you're seeking.
You're exactly right. And I think about some clients have had to get updated documents or their certified document from their country of nationality. And we have certain processes in America, but another country might have a longer delay. So yeah, 87
That's
days can go by pretty quickly.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm. Now, Arna, we've also had people who, actually, a lot of people who schedule with us, they either already have an attorney and they're considering to, you know, do a little thing and fire them and looking for new counsel. So I'm
Mhm.
hoping this video can help people understand why having the professional legal team to help them, just essentially the right team to guide them all the way to get status, because not all lawyers are the same, right? We didn't go all to one law school, and even law school didn't necessarily teach us to do certain type of case. It just taught us the hypotheticals, the basics of the law.
Yeah,
So with that being
that's right.
said, what I was meant to share earlier is that when people even have an attorney, we've received a lot of information that when they do get the RFE, for example, the
Mhm.
other law firm might not even call them the same day. They might not even call back to schedule a meeting with their client, and that's going to lose a lot of time.
Yeah,
Um,
unfortunately, that happens a lot. We get a lot of people who already have an attorney, and either I would say probably communication is the biggest one. They can't get a hold of them. They have questions on the case. They don't tell them right away if there's been some sort of movement on the case or they need to get more documents. A lot of law firms, I think, in immigration focus on volume, where they're doing a ton of cases at a time and they just don't spend the amount per case to make sure that you have a successful case and do it as quick as possible. So I think communication is the biggest thing we see. And you don't want to pay double, right? Like if you change attorneys in the middle of your process, you've already paid someone to do the service, and it just ends up being a bigger headache and a much higher cost.
that's exactly right. I mean, you don't want to pay double, but by now, if you're watching this video and you're already thinking, and this video showed up in your feed, it probably showed up for a reason, and you're seeking new counsel, you might still have to do this, right? You still might have to hire another legal team, professional legal team. But for those folks who have not hired an attorney, we've recording this video because we want to help you avoid those problems. So you have to ask certain questions, and we'll share that with you later. But Ariana, we have three different service levels for many cases. But you're right, most immigration law firms, are what we call like a volume practice, and they just unfortunately accept any case that they receive a call about, right? Whereas what you learn from us, from our team, is that we're actually very much more diligent in terms of not accepting offering a quote for everyone because it depends on the situation, right?
For sure. And people are really grateful to know, like, this is sometimes it's not doable, sometimes you don't qualify. But a lot of attorneys, to get that contract signed, to get, the deposit, they'll say, let's do it, let's try it. And it could really hurt someone in the long run to submit a false application, to submit an application that is not going to be successful. So it's really important to have an attorney who specializes and custom makes your strategy based on your case.
Now, with that being said, we're not trying to say, oh, like these lawyers are bad or they're like sleazy car salespeople, right? But you just have to know that you have to read the Google reviews, just like you would looking for a restaurant. You want to make sure that they have I'm sure you're looking for top-notch customer service. So that's one of the pillars of our law firm here at Green Card Guys, to make sure that you have received the updates as timely as possible. As soon as we receive something, we're going to let you know the same day. If not,
Mhm.
if you didn't actually receive the updates because you didn't answer the phone, and we'll just leave a voicemail or email, right? Um,
Yeah.
Now, there's other situation though. We talked about missed deadlines. What's the next type of scenario, Ariana, that people definitely have suffered a problem because they didn't have a professional legal team?
Yeah, I think another one is just keeping up with the laws. Immigration is a super rapidly changing type of practice area. There's new communications, new procedures, new forms, updated forms. And so if you're going with an attorney who's not keeping up with all of those new developments, it could really hurt your case or even just delay your case for a long time. If they, for example, submit the incorrect form. It takes time for the mail to go, for it to go back to you. So that's just an additional delay that you don't want to do. So I would say taking action, staying on top of policy changes is a big one. You want to make sure that you have an attorney who is keeping up with the law, which unfortunately not all attorneys do, but it's important to ask these things in your consultations, when you're contacting, when you're researching firms, because you want someone who's going to have the latest information.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that, Ariana. And yeah, it's more about taking action, right? Having that team, a professional team, to not just have a meeting with you, but be knowledgeable to know how to help you, or maybe tell a client that you don't qualify for this new policy. So we're proactive with our team. I'm very fortunate at Green Card Guys that all of our attorneys on our team are proactive. We learn about, like, for example, this is being recorded 2 days after the new Biden's marriage pro in place, the application start date. And even before then, we were doing webinars, we're still doing webinars about it. and the even before the proposed rule was published finally yesterday, we were just trying to gather as much information as possible to share with our clients as well. Which actually, Ariana, some people qualify for it, right?
Yeah, some people qualify for it. It's going to be a really great program. It's mostly geared to those who are married to US citizens and don't have a legal entry. The normal path for those people to get status is doing a waiver, which takes a really long time to process, and then finishing the application at their home country consulate, which is super scary if you've been in the US for a long time, undocumented or without any status. It's really scary to have to leave the country to get your final decision. So with this program, you'll be able to stay in the US, get a work permit, and then you can also get status without leaving the country and without having to do a waiver. So it's very exciting to have these new programs come up, but you want to definitely choose someone who's staying up to date and who is going to file the forms for you correctly.
Absolutely, Ariana. And I would just realize that we were just having a conversation yesterday about whether this type of person, with certain facts in their immigration history could qualify for this. And that's a great thing with a professional legal team. It's not just how it was for me, like it was just myself many years ago, but we can have a collaboration discussion. I wouldn't say like a debate, like we're trying to fight each other off anything. We're looking out for the best interest of the clients to make sure we do it the correct pathway.
For sure. Yeah. Each client has their own very personalized strategy. And if we can bounce ideas around, it's great to have other people on the legal team that have really great experience so that everyone can contribute their own experience and their own expertise and help people get status the fastest way possible and the easiest way possible.
Absolutely. Well, Aria, there's at least a third scenario that we've thought of in terms of providing peace of mind. And that relates to communication. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that's super important when you're choosing an attorney. You want to be able to not only answer questions on your case, but sometimes questions about new things that come up. So, for example, this new program, we've had a lot of clients who were signed up for different processes and they just want to know how it affects them, want to know if they're eligible. So, it's really important to have an attorney who is able to communicate with you and to make that communication easy. We hear a lot about people calling their law firms or their attorneys multiple times for months, getting legal assistance, not being able to get an appointment with their attorney. Our system is we want to make it as easy as possible for our clients to communicate with us. We have links where our clients can self-schedule for a time that works for them. You don't have to call anyone. You don't have to speak to a person. You can just schedule a time that works for you and you will meet directly with an attorney. You won't have any legal assistance. It'll just be your attorney. So that's a huge thing when it comes to choosing the right law firm. It's going to be how often can I communicate with them and how easy do they make that for me?
Absolutely. Yeah, communication is key for us. We believe that's one of the critical things that delivers customer service, right? For a long time, I mean, some applications take a long time with USCIS or even when it moves on to the embassy or consulate. And with that being said, most attorneys I know, my colleagues and friends, they don't really have a process or workflow to update clients. And I find that alarming, right? And they're good people, they're good lawyers. They don't have a focus on customer service. And so when I went to law school, I knew that was the one of the things I wanted to focus on if I was going to start my own law firm. And look at that, I did. So many years later. So and that's if you look at our Google reviews, we have over 300 5-star reviews, and I'm very thankful for my team, whether it's an attorney like Ariana or one of our client advocates, or even down to our customer service client care specialists. We all deliver customer service to provide you the information in a timely manner. Now, oh, another big topic that we often don't talk about. It's not. This is a topic that is kind of touchy for us immigration lawyers. We feel very, I guess you said, frustrated, sad, angry sometimes, depending on the outcome that people receive and might not be able to apply for immigration benefit in the future. Is that right, Ariana?
That's right. So this is a really sad topic, I think, in all of immigration law. There's a lot of people who advertise themselves as consultants or notarios. Notario is Spanish for notary. So in the US, a notary public is someone who certifies your signature. So they're able to say, this is a person that's signing. But in other countries, a notary is an attorney. And so they take advantage of that lack of knowledge in between the countries and the differences, and they tell people that they're licensed, they tell people that they know what they're doing, that they've worked with immigration attorneys before. But I cannot tell you how many cases I've had where the case is done incorrectly, the forms are filed incorrectly, they are filing for benefits that people don't qualify, and this results in fraud determinations, denials, delays. So it's one of the saddest thing I see, because a lot of people are just really excited about getting status, about getting a work permit, and these people take advantage of them by not giving them the correct information. And it's sad to see. So it's important for you to pick a law firm that has licensed attorneys. You can look up most of the attorneys on the state Supreme Court website that they're licensed to, just to make sure that they are licensed. And a lot of those websites will also tell you if those attorneys have had any discipline. So if they've ever been in trouble for anything, those websites should tell you. So it's very, very important to verify that you're actually speaking to an attorney and not just someone who is a consultant or a notario.
Thank you for sharing that information, Ariana. When people have talked to us in meetings, strategy session, and someone complains about their lawyer and they're actually a lawyer, we just like to double check. We do a little Google search, and when I did that for someone, it popped up right on the first page that there was a suspension. And so I asked that person, "Did you know that your attorney suspended?" And they had no idea, right? Because most attorneys, if they're trying to be a little sleek, I guess, they're not going to tell you that, "Oh, by the way, I got suspended." So but the right
Right.
thing to do, if a lawyer is following ethical rules, they would let them know what happened. Maybe not the full detail, but at least tell them, "Hey, here's a list of lawyers that you can talk to that I trust. I'm sorry I can't help you anymore." And then, but I'm sure most people unfortunately don't disclose that and share that. So, these days, Ariana, with, more people doing videos like ourselves, like TikTok, YouTube, all these different social media platforms, it's actually easier for these consultants, so-called consultants or notarios, notaries to actually try to get your attention, right?
For sure. I've seen a lot of TikTok videos, a lot of YouTube videos of people who aren't licensed, and they'll always say something like, this isn't legal advice, like I'm not an attorney, but it's always kind of with a wink, right? Like, I know the information, I'm gonna cost less, which is interesting because based on the people that we talk to, sometimes it's a lot more money to go with one of these consultants because they just take advantage. We've heard a lot of instances where they've paid thousands of dollars to one of these people and they just disappear. They don't know where they are, how to get to them. And unfortunately, this happens all the time. We see it a lot in our practice. I think across immigration law, it's a big problem, unfortunately. So it's always great to do your due diligence, do the Google reviews, do the state licensing, but make sure you're talking to an actual attorney.
Absolutely, Ariana. Yeah, just unfortunately, we all have similar but different stories when it comes to people who have hired an notario. We'll definitely share a link down below in the description box or as a pinned comment where you can download our guide that lists all of it, because we just don't have enough time to share all of it right now. But I can give you a quick example, and that is either like a DS-160 visitor visa form. That consultant had checkmark married or a checkmark single, but the person, the applicant, was actually married. And so people have these misconceptions, unfortunately, on what works to get a visa or what doesn't. And if you're gonna ask, you want that information, right? It just makes sense to hire a professional legal team and not a notarial consultant, because some people turn a blind eye and say, "Oh, it's just a white lie." USCIS or other future immigration agency, they're not gonna know. But trust me, they know. Sometime we know. Well, I always complain about them being slow, but they certainly know, right, Ariana?
They do know. And that, yeah, it's really important to put on the correct information. I think with the notarios, they just don't have any liability if things go wrong. Us as attorneys, we have to have insurance. We are liable for our mistakes, but there's so many people that I see that have gone with these consultants or notarios, and they come back and they say, I didn't even review the form, they just sent it over. Well, guess what? The government is not going to take that. The government is assuming that you're reviewing and you know all of the information. A lot of them do forms without submitting any information that they helped prepare them. So they just don't have any consequences for doing any of these things. And really, you're going to be the one that's hurt. So it's a super important thing to verify.
And Ariana, that's why we say it's not just filling out forms. It's certainly not. There's a lot to it that I know sometimes it's difficult for us to explain, but that's why I figured we have this topic so that we finally have this opportunity to explain it for y'all why it's not just forms. You know, and just to share a quick success story for a client who was in a similar situation that had hired a notary. This person had hired one to fill out to help with TPS. Okay, TPS application. But this person, after several times of having TPS, let's just call it wrong place, wrong time, was arrested, was convicted, or he or she did a plea deal, and it came back to bite him. And eventually, the TPS application, the next one, was denied. She was referred to court. She didn't know about the court hearing. That notario, fortunately, called her at least that same day of the court hearing, but by that time, it was too late. You know, that was in Dallas, so that was just traffic in Houston, Dallas. There's traffic everywhere, right? So it's just hard to get. But that's ridiculous. Fortunately, we were able to reopen it and share the story. But not everyone is fortunate to be able to get it reopened. Like, oh, sorry, that was an accident. Can you reopen it? It doesn't always work that way. It depends on the situation, and we're happy to review that for y'all. Okay. All right. Maybe there's a good time to share with people that are ways to contact us, right? So we have the website, of course, but we want to make it easy for you. So if you are interested in our services, you want to find out a little more information how we do things. Hopefully this video was helpful to you, whether you hire our team, our professional legal team at Green Card Guys, or maybe another attorney. It's all good. We just want to make sure you have the proper legal representation. Once you click our link down below in the description box, there's that first option to pay this amount of money. At least that's what it is right now, as a reservation fee. If you're in a situation that you're serious about your case and you're going to meet one of our client care specialists to pre-qualify you for our services. Now, keep in mind, client care specialist is not an attorney. I know we've been talking about that a lot, and you want that peace of mind. We do have meetings where you meet one of our attorneys, such as Ariana, and we want to make sure that you have an attorney working on your file, okay? Not just an assistant. Now, with that being said, if you are just not too sure, but you have legal questions, then that's when you schedule directly with one of our attorneys, such as Ariana. And that's the option number 2 in that link. And I'm sharing this specifically because we have limited spots. All right. And some people I know have legal questions, but not necessarily ready to file the case because you're planning for the future. We totally understand that. But keep in mind, our attorneys like Ariana are focused on reviewing and properly filing your case. So there's no problem in your case, or least amount of problem as possible. Okay. And we call it quality control process. So, and then, but if you're like abroad, you have no sponsor, you're looking for a sponsor, just want to know kind of like the know your rights, the ABCs of a certain situation, certain case type. That is option number 3 for a webinar. Okay, that is being rolled out on a rolling basis. I guess you could say, not necessarily a set schedule. So you can go ahead and select option 3 and then pick the topic that you're interested in. If for some reason that topic is not available for you, go ahead and just email in because you'll get an automatic email. Just pick one topic and email back, reply back, and ask for a different topic. We're happy to accommodate. All right. So, Ariana, with that being said, any final thoughts for today on what else people should know? I mean, there's so much we can share, but
For sure. Yeah, just do your due diligence, do your research, go with someone that you feel really comfortable with. Shop around. Don't think you have to hire, the first person that you talk to, and give us a call. Come talk to us. We'd love to review your case. We'd love to help. You can contact us through all the ways that John mentioned.
thanks, Ariana. We just want to make sure that you find the right professional legal team for you that's going to get it done, provide a smooth journey as possible for you, provide that peace of mind. So there's where I'm a little biased. I believe with our team, including Ariana, we're going to get the job done for you because that's how we do it. All right. Y'all have a wonderful day. Take care.
Bye.